Now the little bee starts to blossom.
So hi, welcome to another episode of History Hunters. I'm here at the chapel of the Chimes Memorial Park here in Hayward, California. I'm here to find the final resting place of Spade Cooley, who was known as the king of Western Swing in Western Swing's heyday in the 1940s and 1950s. Definitely a scoundrel in my book. I have zero respect for the guy for what he did to his wife. He's the only person that has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame who has killed his wife, and he did so out of anger, and he was just a vile human being.
Shame on you.
So we're going to go over to this little grouping of mausoleums. Apologize for the fact that sounds like they're chipping up a tree or something. We need to find the Court of St. Paul, where Mr. Cooley is buried. Certainly a lot of buildings here in this section. What I find really sad is this is the Court of St. Paul West, and it says the fruit of the Spirit is love and peace. And yet, those words would not be used to describe Spade Cooley, especially toward the end of his life. And right here we're going to find the grave of Donnell Cooley, Spade Cooley, right here. Beloved father, December 17th, 1910 to November 23rd, 1969.
At the height of his career, Spade Cooley was earning $120,000 a week and rivaled the popularity of Lawrence Welk. As interest in Western music grew, Cooley's fame and fortune increased to an estimated $15 million. In 1948, Cooley was on TV hosting a variety show on KTLA called The Hoffman Hayride, which booked guests like Frank Sinatra, Bob Hope, and Tennessee Ernie Ford. In 1950, he appeared in Western films including The Kid from Gower Gulch, The Silver Bandit, Border Outlaws, and Everybody's Dancin'. He later appeared in The Big Tip-Off and Casa Mañana, but his life unraveled in horrible ways.
Now, I certainly can't remember any Hollywood celebrities who were accused of killing their wives. Can you? Being facetious, of course. I'm thinking of O.J. Simpson, and I'm thinking of Robert Blake, both who were not found guilty of killing their wives, but I think we all know.
The story of Donnell Clyde Cooley began with his birth in 1910 in Oklahoma to poor sharecropper parents. Cooley learned to play the fiddle from his father, John, who made money playing at local dances. Since he was a quarter Cherokee Indian, Cooley was sent to an Indian school in Oregon for an education. He wanted to become a concert violinist, but with no money for lessons, he followed his father's footsteps and became an accomplished fiddler. In 1931, at the age of 22, his parents moved to Modesto, California, where he earned a modest living playing in bars and outdoor events, as well as in nearby Fresno and Stockton for polka parties and square dances. Donnell was good at poker games, and one night in Modesto, he drew a straight flush in spades 3 times in a row, and was thus tagged with the nickname Spade, which stuck with him the rest of his life. A persistent search for film work landed him a job at Republic Pictures as a stand-in for Roy Rogers. Soon he was singing with the writers of The Purple Sage and made his first recording in 1941 with Cal Shrum. The Spade Cooley Orchestra was formed soon afterward as a headline attraction at the Venice Pier Ballroom and later at the Riverside Rancho in Los Angeles, where the popular Carolina Cotton joined the band as a bass fiddler, singer, and yodeler. And the band opened the doors at the new Santa Monica Ballroom while recording for RCA Victor. Cooley's band made their first record in 1944, and the single Shame on You became a #1 hit, which was also his signature song.
Shame, shame on you. Shame, shame on you. Gave my heart as a token, when returned it was broken. Hide your face, shame on you.
The performer's career began to look up, and by 1943, Cooley's performances at the Santa Monica Ballroom and later the Aragon Ballroom at Ocean Park were drawing large crowds. He earned the reputation as a womanizing cheat, and in 1 year it's been reported that he paid for 10 of his lovers to have abortions. Ella Mae Evans, a young, beautiful, and marginally talented singer, caught Cooley's eye. He added her to his band and eventually divorced his first wife, Anne. By the late 1950s, Cooley appeared to be on the height of his career. There was little hint of personal or financial stress, but looks were deceiving. His private life mirrored his band's theme song, Shame on You. As the popularity of Cooley's brand of Western swing waned, the celebrity made a bad decision to plan for a Water Wonderland themed park on his ranch in Kern County. Planning for it would drain him financially, and his violent temper would grow worse with his drinking. Cooley was distressed by the increased paranoia that Ella Mae was cheating, so he basically imprisoned her at the ranch. Cooley insisted that his wife give up her career to take care of their children, daughter Melody, born in 1946, and son Donnell Jr., born in 1948.
Now, even though Cooley's net worth ended up being around $15 million, great fame, he was an alcoholic, he was a womanizer, he was just one mean son of a Something just wells up inside of me with anger when I read how he abused his wife, Ella Mae, just this sweet, young, pretty thing, and mother of his children, and he goes and he does the most vile things that you could do to a woman. There's no redeeming qualities for that. Even though he was the unfaithful one, Cooley became extremely jealous of his wife, suspecting her of infidelity and tiring of being spied upon and enduring all-night accusations of infidelities. Ella Mae filed for divorce. Spade counterfiled but changed his mind and asked Ella Mae to take him back. She went to the hospital instead, where she reportedly informed a nurse who befriended her that the only affair that she ever had was with Spade's one-time mentor and friend, Roy Rogers, but that fling was long over. On April 3rd, 1961, in a drunken rage, he murdered Ella Mae in front of their 14-year-old daughter, Melody, kicking her and punching her to death while accusing her of infidelity. He choked her, he stomped her, he yanked her hair out, and used the handle of his broom to violate her vaginally and anally. He dragged her nude, bruised, and blood-covered body from the shower into the bedroom and slammed her head on the floor twice. And he said to his daughter, Melody, I'll give you 3 minutes to get her off the floor, or I'll kill her if you don't get her up. Spade went into the living room and began a countdown. 1 minute left. Half-minute left, but the body remained limp. Time's up, Melody. Spade entered the room with a rifle in his hand. All right, Melody, you're gonna watch me kill her, he said, and with that he stomped Ella Mae in the abdomen. He called her a slut. Then he burned parts of her body with a cigarette.
After police interviewed him and searched his ranch, Cooley was arrested on suspicion of murder and transported to the county jail in Bakersfield. While he awaited trial, Cooley had run of the jail and could have just about anything he wanted. He often was not confined to his cell, but allowed to walk the jail corridors. He also ate with law enforcement officers in their dining room, which served much better food than the regular inmates were given. Although he pled not guilty by reason of insanity, Spade Cooley stood trial for murder. The resulting trial was a media circus, full of gruesome crime details and celebrity testimony. His daughter Melody was the chief witness, and at times Spade glared at her in the courtroom as she recounted what occurred. In the courtroom, Melody described how her father viciously beat her mother that night. He was later heard muttering, "How could she do this to me?" After 19 hours of deliberation, jurors convicted Cooley of murder. Kern County Superior Court Judge William Bradshaw sentenced Cooley to a life in prison.
California has a tendency to be very lenient with their prisoners, and in 1969, a parole board kind of set a date for him to be released in February 1970, but 3 months prior to that, they gave him a 3-day furlough so he could go perform a fundraiser for the Alameda County Sheriff's Department, and that's where he passed away. Following a standing ovation after playing 3 songs, he left the stage and suddenly dropped dead of a heart attack. His last words were, reportedly, "I have a feeling that today is the first day of the rest of my life."
By today's standards, Cooley's pending release after serving just a few years in prison and his differential treatment by law enforcement and jurors seems shocking in light of his heinous crime. But people's attitudes about domestic violence and the response of the criminal justice system has evolved in the 60 years since Spade Cooley stood trial. Make no mistake, Spade Cooley was a beloved entertainer who gained the trust of millions of fans over the decades with his musical talents, on-screen charm, and folksy personality.
Honey, I didn't go very far through school. I suppose you can tell by the way I talk. But I am going to be instrumental in your graduating a day early. You're graduating from Westlake College tomorrow, is that right?
Right.
Well, we pulled a few strings of our own tonight, and we have here Mr. Alvin Leonard of the Westlake Music College, and we'd like to bring him in right now because he has a presentation.
He was also involved in benevolent endeavors and often accommodated charities. So it's not really a surprise to understand how people continued to stand by his celebrity while the courts tried the demon that few outside the family knew. The same kind of treatment was offered to the charming O.J. Simpson when he was arrested for murdering his wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her boyfriend. I find it despicable that Spade Cooley subjected his wife to repeated abuses and vicious cruelty, and right in front of their own daughter. It is equally revolting to read his letter to Melody, in which he took no responsibility for the crime. On August 16, 1961, the same day I was born in a different time zone, Spade Cooley took out a pen and wrote a letter to his daughter after her truthful testimony against him in the Bakersfield court. Quote, "My dearest Melody, as I sit here in this cell wondering what will become of you, Donnell, and wondering too what will become of me, tears fill my eyes, and I am so sad. Mr. Lambrose finished his case today. So now it is up to the DA and the jury. It makes no difference what the verdict is. I still love you with all of my heart. Of course, I love little Donnell the same way. There is so much to be said and so little time to say it in. It's hard to put down on paper. I think I want you to know. First, no matter what you said about me and no matter what your reasons were, I'll always love you just the same. Sometimes when we are young, it's hard to understand a sickness of mind that it's different for adults to understand. You see, darling, you can't hurt me any more than you have because it's over, and I still love you. Tell my little boy how much I love him and miss him too. God bless you both. Spade."
Spade Cooley's parents are buried in Modesto, California at the Acacia Memorial Park Cemetery, and I'm going to go find their graves as well. So I'm here at Acacia Memorial Park here in Modesto, and after a lot of searching, I found the graves of Spade Cooley's parents, who came out here, brought Spade and his siblings out here to California. And right here, there's a road in the back. Right here are the graves of John W. Cooley, Spade Cooley's father, and his mother, Emma Cooley. John W. Cooley, beloved father, 1870-1943. And here's Emma Cooley. She's the woman who gave birth to Spade Cooley, 1880 to 1945.
The story of Spade Cooley is a tragic tale of what can happen when fame and alcohol and excesses destroy brilliant talents and those around him. What happened on that horrible night in 1961 has contaminated any fond remembrance of his Western swing music, now forever preserved in recording. We saw his likes after 1961, and the sad thing is, we'll see it again in the future.